networker is like a great interviewer.
I'm huge on authenticity, guys. It's a big part of my message.
Claim your local listings and don't get caught paying someone for your local listing.
If you want to be successful, you got to do 6 things 1,000 times, not 1,000 things 6 times.
And when in doubt, give to other people and don't expect anything in return. But in giving to other people and helping them, it almost always comes back.
It's using the power of partnership, creating trusted partner networks to work with you to make your company be an offer more than just you.
They've done 90% of the work. It's your job to do the last 10% to meet them in the middle.
Don't let the fear of losing be greater than the excitement of winning. Hi, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Ask Valor Masterminds podcast, brought to you by Advanced Septic Services. My name's Galen.
Good morning, I'm Joe.
And we are coming at you virtually from the BD Local Studios in Tacoma, Washington. So, Joe, for our last podcast of the year, if we have any new listeners and viewers, can you tell everyone how our podcast came to be?
Sure. So it first started out as a Facebook group page where we wanted to bring different businesses together to kind of ask questions, share tips, and just talk about just business in general. And we thought, what a better way than to actually start a podcast where we bring on different guest speakers that are kind of experts in their field to talk about pretty much any and all topics as it relates to being in business or being an entrepreneur.
Awesome. And today's topic is how to make business more effortless. And we have another international guest joining us from the Netherlands. Please welcome Martijn Meima to our podcast, all the way from the Netherlands. So thank you for joining us.
Great to be here. Thank you.
All right. So we'll give just a quick introduction. So Martijn Meima has a major in management organization from the University of, I'm going to try to get this right, it's in the Netherlands, the University of Groningen.
Yes.
All right, Joe, take it away.
All right. He has studied many fields like NLP, Buddhism, non-duality, energy work, voice dialogue, visualizations, Sedona method, leadership embodiment, professional intuition training, and the narrative approach. His greatest passion is facilitating constellations. He combines all his experience and knowledge in his company, Business Intuition. He coaches and trains entrepreneurs in intuition, entrepreneurship, and personal development. He is the author of The Effortless Entrepreneur. He is also the co-owner of the International School of Entrepreneurship, which helps individuals, teams, and organizations to leverage the power of the undercurrent and create the success that they envision. Source for success. So thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, it's great.
Before we move forward, our last episode, Joe, we had Paul Barron on, a really unique episode from the wall printer. So what was one of your main takeaways when we had Paul on the last episode?
Yeah, so this episode was actually about like when is enough and when is the right time to retire or sell a business. So essentially, what is someone's exit strategy? And so with me, it was every person is different when they're ready. But essentially, if a person can wake up in the morning and be okay with having nothing to do other than get up and do their whatever tasks around the house or wherever they live, and be okay with just doing that, then they're ready.
Right. So just a cool kind of episode. So just reference that. Now back to Martijn. So we asked our guests the same 3 questions to kind of get to know them a little better. So I'll ask you the first question. So what are some early lessons learned as an entrepreneur?
Well, that you're all on your own. So I used to be employed, so I always had my employer, and I always was a free spirit, and I did my thing the way I wanted to do. But then when I started my own company, it was like, okay, so now it comes down to me, and that was really an insight that I couldn't think of. It was just there when I started, and one day it was very strange. I did some kind of network talk with somebody, and then I went to the IKEA. And then I came out of the IKEA and I thought, where do I need to, how can I like write down the hours for what I did in the IKEA, and then I thought, oh, I don't have to write down any hours anymore because I'm my own boss. And then it opened up a complete world. I could do whatever I want. So it was even a bit scary. But then I thought, wow, this is amazing. I can just do whatever I want. So that was my first lesson that I learned, that you're really on your own, and it could be scary. And at the same time, I still love it every day. And now since 2007, I started my company. So it's almost 15 years.
So then, since you've been on your own and you've had to learn some of these things, what is the best piece of advice that you've been given?
Yeah, well, I was thinking about that, and I'm not very good in taking advice. But the best piece of advice for me was to create an email list and do email marketing, because that I've been doing actually before I even started my company. I started my email list, and that's something that is creating a lot of flow, a lot of clients, but also a lot of it's my way of bringing things into the world, and you're not dependent on any social media or whatever. So that's what yeah, somebody advised that, and I thought, wow, that really helped.
So I guess it's a good segue to the last question, since it's a marketing podcast that we have. Why is marketing important? So
Yeah, for me, marketing is more than being on social media and doing your networking. Marketing is can be all kinds of things. Like, well, also in my book I write about marketing. You can even meditate as marketing. But marketing is important because, well, it's about clients. And if you don't have clients, I call it a hobby, or it's like more like, well, it's not a business. So you need clients, and in order to get clients, yeah, you need to do some kind of marketing in order to make yourself visible and make yourself heard, and that people know why they need to go to you. So that's, yeah, it's essential actually.
all right. Well, thank you for sharing that. Joe, our hashtag Valor Cares initiative is something we're proud of to be able to continue. Can you give our listeners and viewers some insight on our Valor Cares promotion, please?
Yeah, so Martijn mentioned about marketing is essential, and essentially every single business needs to have a website. A website is their foundation for their business. So our Valor Cares is just that, to where we choose a winner or two winners every single month that go to our website and fill out the form to submit their business, but we build free websites. So every business should have a website for the business that represents what they do. And this is just a great way to accomplish that for small businesses.
Thank you. Now we come to the part of our Advanced Septic Pump You Up quote of the day. So I was searching for a quote on intuition, and I stumbled on one from Albert Einstein, and I'll read it and then get your thoughts on it. So intuition does not come to an unprepared mind. So Martijn, what are your thoughts, or what thought or two on that quote from Mr. Albert Einstein?
Well, I cannot disagree with Einstein, right? But it depends on what he means by a prepared mind. Because sometimes I hear people that like intuition is something like a lot of experience, and then you prepare your mind in a way, and then you access this experience. And what I've learned in all the intuition trainings is that you need to unprepare your mind, or you need to empty your mind, or you need to shut down your mind. So that's also a way of preparing the mind, is to say to the mind, well, we're not going to use you anymore for now. We're going to use our intuition. Because intuition, yeah, the mind is like shouting all the time, and your intuition is whispering. So if your mind is still active, you cannot listen to your intuition. So that's why I think, well, a prepared mind in a certain way.
So let me ask you a quick question then before then we move on is, what is intuition? Can you define what intuition is?
Yeah, in my book, I also give some definitions of intuition, because there are different definitions. So one is the expert intuition, where people say, okay, if you have a lot of experience, you can quickly access this experience, and that's intuition. For me, intuition is the gateway to a larger, and a larger field source of information that we cannot access with our five senses. So you can get a lot of information, but by your intuition, you tune into this or even larger source of information, which is also timeless, and which is also non-local. So it's really your sixth sense. So I've seen things happening and people, well, and even everybody has it sometimes, that you walk into a room and sense, oh, okay, this is a good room. I want to be here. Or you think about somebody and he calls, or you really have a feeling that you need to go somewhere or develop a certain product and it becomes a success. A lot of successful entrepreneurs, they're very intuitive. They when they explain how they work, it's not that they think and make plans. It's like, oh, I got this insight, or I got a sensation, or I thought maybe this is a good way to do this. And that's all also intuition. But we have never learned to give words to it or to describe our intuition because, well, it's not a class in school, right?
Thank you.
All right. So now we'll get to the part of our podcast where it's our Advanced Septic. Did you know? There's some myths that Martijn shared with us that we want to kind of debunk. So he likes doing that a little bit. So we'll get to our first one and then have a quick discussion on each point before we move forward. So this myth, there is no competition. So break that down for us, please.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, but I really believe in it. Competition is based on a very old model of the world, economic model. When I went to university, there is like a scarcity and we're all fishing in the same pond and we all want the same customers. And then you might think there's competition, like it's me against you. But when you look at this from a systemic perspective, and a systemic perspective is based on all the evidence and all the business constellations and family constellations that people have done. I'm not sure if I can explain a lot about it, but it's a method that uses people to represent certain elements in a question and you put them in a room. And when you look at this living image, you get all kinds of information, what is really happening, what kind of dynamics are active in the question that you have. Well, and this people that have worked with that, they came up with principles that are timeless and also are active all over the world in systems. And the market is also a system. It's like all kinds of players, all kind of parts in a larger system, and we all together we are a market. And one of the things is that every part in a system has its own place. It has a place where he belongs and where he can thrive. So if you take a position in a market, it also means the market also means that you have customers. Otherwise, it's not a position where you can thrive and where you are where you belong. There's one thing, you need to take a position that is really your own or that belongs to your company. Because I see companies sometimes like, oh, he's doing a good job. Let's copy that. And then you're taking somebody else's place. And when you do that, then you will really encounter competition because it's like, okay, he's taking my place. No, it's my place. No, mine. Oh, I tried to copy you. So it's really about finding your sweet spot in the market and finding your specific clients and finding your added value. So, and when you found that as a company, then I can say there's no competition.
So this next one, so intuition is not your gut feeling. So it is not. So these are people, I think you kind of touched it a little bit, but where you try to be, too analytical, like you're following a checklist and you're, like you said, outside of your main senses. So talk to us about that. Intuition is not your gut feeling.
Yeah, a lot of people say, oh, you need to follow your gut feeling because that's very intuitive. And right, it is not analyzing and following your mind, but the gut feeling is completely disturbed by a lot of emotions, by wanting something real bad, by desires, by pain. And it's actually a big mess physically, but also energetically. It's a big mess in your gut feeling. And intuition is always very pure and very direct, and it's very clear. And intuition comes like in 5 flavors. So there is a feeling intuition, but it's beyond the gut feeling. It's like your clear feeling. It is like feeling with your sixth sense. And when you get used to it, you can sense the difference. Like your gut feeling is like, oh, it's like going on, it's kind of heavy. And this intuitive feeling is like, wow, okay, I sense it and I know it's good. Well, knowing is another one. It's like, but then you can, you might mix it up with your thinking. And again, thinking can be like, oh, like thinking in circles. And intuition is bright and quick. It's like, okay, I got this insight. Where did it come from? So that's intuitive knowing. And then you also have intuitive seeing. It's like that you see an image, or you see a path where you need to go, or you're attracted to something. So it's this things you see without using your eyes. And then you also have the hearing and the tasting and the smelling. And those are also intuitive channels that you can use, and they give you information about whatever topic you want. And most people use it for personal reasons, or I also coach a lot of coaches, and they use it in their coaching. They use a lot of intuition, but when they do marketing, they go, no, now I need to follow the 5 steps and I need to really think about it. And I really want to say, no, use your intuition there as well. It really helps you. So yeah, so it's not the gut feeling. It's much more light and clear.
This is one that I'm really anxious or really excited to hear your insight on. So you can't separate business from personal. So the image is, it's almost like a fork in the road. Like it's either or. You can't do both. So we have a lot of entrepreneurs who probably struggle with this, or it's a challenge maybe.
Yeah.
Talk to our audience about that, please.
Yeah, well, what we want to do is like, I want the perfect life-work balance, or I want to, when I go to work, I'm somebody else than when I go play with my children, or when I find issues at work, it's like business and there's no emotions allowed, and we're all human beings. And when we do business with human beings. Even a large company with 100,000 people, it's all human beings doing work with human beings. So, and it's not that when I walk out of my front door that I become a different person. Maybe I wear a suit, maybe I say a little bit different things, but still I am Martijn Meima. I am this guy who does and is who he is. And by separating this, or wanting to separate it, we forget about half of us, because we think we leave our personal stuff at home and now we are in business. And that's such a pity, because when we bring all of us to work, the whole of us, and also ask that from our employees, if you have employees, we say, okay, we want the whole of you at work, and not only your business we want all of you, and also your emotions, and also your maybe your hobbies or whatever. And they do it like at Google. People can bring their dogs and can do whatever, because that's what you want. You want the whole person at work. This, as an entrepreneur, also means that if you encounter issues in your business, you might solve them by looking at some business things and some structures, and maybe about some analytics. But you might also have to solve them by looking in the mirror and see, okay, so what is it that I'm doing here? And what kind of personal issues do I bring to work, or what are like resonating in when I work, are still resonating from my past or from my private life when I do business. So by separating too much, it's like you forget about 50% or maybe even 60% of yourself, which is, well, a pity. Yeah.
And we've had guests on that it's a common theme, like the work-life balance. And we've also had a previous guest on that talked about like the culture. So not only like company values, but it kind of transcends over to like your personal values. Like if you're going to work for a company, you almost have to, everyone's kind of rowing in the same direction, not only just the work-wise, but like value-wise. And that's talk about the whole self. So then the intriguing part is now you're bringing like the intuition part, like, even though you're an individual at work, you still have that part that you could contribute as part of not just like your skill set, but like you as a person, like the whole piece. So
Yeah,
and I
because
think
if
your
you
book
bring the
talks
whole,
about, yeah, your book talks about more like being open to all your senses, you know.
right.
I know we've had Bob Berg of the Go Giver, you know, be open to receiving is one of the laws, right, Joe? So that it kind of comes like full circle. So like it kind of, everything kind of intertwines.
Well, with that
This
too, with bringing your personal into your business, sometimes your personal, what's going on in your personal life also affects you, make positive impact on your business as well.
Yes. So this is
And
a
if
good
you,
transition into our next one. Goals are useless. We've had coaches on that have said otherwise, but we hear it. Some people, you know, they make goals the first week, you know, it's almost New Year. And then by the second week of January, like gone, right?
right.
So talk to us about that myth of they're useless. Goals are useless.
Yeah, well, the thing is, of course, I put it very bluntly, but what goals do, they give you an idea of control and they give you an idea of direction. They give you an idea of, I know what to do and I know how to get there. And which does help sometimes, but it also gives you like a very narrow view of what you want to do. Because if I say, okay, I want to double my income for the next year, why didn't I say triple? Or why didn't I say half my income? I mean, what is the reason behind it? It's just an idea. Um, if I have a goal of putting my new product into the market in 2 months, it's something that I say, okay, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. Um, and if you say, okay, I want to bring this product to the market and I follow the flow which brings me to the market, and then yeah, also I describe in my book, everything has a rhythm. And if you follow this rhythm, then you surf on the waves of this rhythm, which makes it easier to get things done because you don't go faster or slower than the rhythm of this new product. And it might sound a little bit strange, but I think everybody recognizes it, that sometimes you're really pulling and really pushing and you're working really hard, and it's just not bringing you the success that you thought it would. And sometimes it's like, oh, it seems like a flow and everything comes together, and it's like, whoa, I don't know, I'm not really working hard, but suddenly there's this new product and a website and clients and it's all working. And that's the difference between um, having goals and sometimes, and even so much in the Western societies, we really are, okay, if you have a goal and you have these deadlines and then you need to work, um, it takes a lot of effort. And I don't think that the results are better than if you didn't have the goals.
I want to get to this last one before we kind of focus on how to make business more effortless. So this last one, entrepreneurs are going to have their ears perk. It is never about money. That's probably the easiest one, that myth that people will, yeah, I know that's not true, but give us a quick thought on that.
Well, every time when you think it's about money, when what somebody says this is too expensive, or you say I want to raise my income with this and that, or I want to spend so much money, it's not really about money. I have never, no, I have talked, but no, almost no entrepreneur has a goal to make money, just to make money. I mean, money is always a result of something that you want to bring to the world. Most entrepreneurs have a dream, have a vision, want to bring something to the world, have an idea, want to create something new, and as a result, they create money. Um, but it's never about the money. If you have an issue with with clients, they say, "Oh, it's too expensive," or I pay too much," or whatever. It's never about the money. There is something underneath in this undercurrent which is causing this reaction. And by only focusing on the money, you're missing this point that there's something else being said. And by fixing or looking at this undercurrent and seeing what's going on there, you might fix the situation not only for this client but even for more and more clients. So I always say money is more like a symptom
Mm.
than that it is really about the money.
That's a good transition to how to make business more effortless. So you talk about the undercurrent, and the cover of your book, Effortless Entrepreneur, shows the fish swimming in the current, and there's an undercurrent, right? So when we have entrepreneurs, small business people that are tuning in, listening to this podcast now, the headline of this is how to make business more effortless. Are there one or two things you could leave with our audience of like quick tips to make business more effortless? Do you see a common thread with your clients or businesses that you observe, like things they're doing wrong or commonalities of the more successful entrepreneurs?
Yeah, well, an easy answer is read my book.
Yeah, that's what I'm just getting. So,
Because that's where I've looked at all the clients I've had in the past almost 25 years, and this is where the key elements that you need to look at. But the main idea is that shift your focus from this surface current where we talk about numbers, we talk about profit and loss, we talk about competition, we talk about span of control, and shift your focus to the undercurrent. And with the International School of Entrepreneurship, we make even a distinction between the undercurrent, like your belief system and your emotions that are quite conscious, to the subconscious undercurrent. And the thing is with subconscious that it's, you're not conscious about what is there. So you need intuitive methods, and business constellations that I use a lot are a way of getting into this layer where there are a lot of interrelationships, there's a lot of connections. I always compare it to a magnetic field. So you have these iron files on your table and they start moving, or there's like this shape and you say, oh, I don't like the shape. And you start moving them, but they move back. And that's because there's something in the undercurrent, and in this case a magnet, which is causing these files to move. So instead of looking at the files and trying to change them, you need to look at the magnet. What's wrong with the magnet, and where do you want the magnet to go? And your intuition, by visualization or by all kinds of methods, you can tune into this intuition, and this intuition can tune into this undercurrent and find out, so what is really going on here? Where is the source of this problem, or the source of this success? I mean, you don't always have to look at problems. So more than focusing on this surface current, if you focus on this undercurrent and use the information and the powers, and like what I said, like the waves of rhythm, or like there's also like when you start a company, there's also this energy in this company. It's like an organism. And if you use that power of this organism instead of using your hard work, it's like riding a horse. You go twice as fast, or maybe 10 times as fast. So that's how it makes it effortless, because it's like you tune into this field, you also find a way to do it your way, and then it's like, oh, is this doing business? Sometimes my clients say, oh, I thought that marketing was very difficult, but if this is also marketing, yeah, then I can do marketing, because this is my way of doing it. So it's tuning into this undercurrent, and also and there you also find your way and the way that fits with you and your clients.
So is there like one exercise that someone could do to get started on this process that you recommend? Because a case study for us is kind of how we started our podcast. We're over 50 episodes in 2 years. I think, Joe, we've kind of used our intuition from where we started to where we are now, and like how, it's kind of effortless for us, but in a good way, right? We've kind of rode the wave.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of businesses probably who are maybe stuck, we're coming out of a pandemic, so there's that stress too. Is it like you mentioned, like meditation or meditate? What's one quick thing if people don't buy your book,
Yeah.
but one thing to get started, like a simple life hack for making business more easy?
Well, actually, the simplest life hack is to live life in small steps. So if you want to reach a big goal, you say, okay, I want to make twice as much money, or I want to get out of this pandemic and I want to make money again with my company. And then you tune into your intuition and you ask just one question. And the question is, what is my first next step?
Nice. So
and tuning into your intuition means that you need to be, and that's where the meditation comes, or mindfulness, is that you get rid of all the anxieties, you get rid of all the stress, you get rid of all the thinking, and you become quiet. And then, I like to close my eyes, ask my intuition, so what is my first step? And I get an image, or I get a sensation, or I hear something, or I see something in the room, and just follow that. And then when you have done that, it's like, okay, what's my first next step? And then and you live step by step.
love it. Love it. Let me ask you a question then. For our audience listening, how can they find your book, or where can they go get it?
You can get it on Amazon.com, and you can get it on my website, intuition-in-business.com.
Sweet.
Before we close, one more plug for our Valor Cares initiative, Joe. I think we're looking probably into the second quarter of the year to reward winners and everything. So just another quick plug.
Yeah. So if you own a business, or you know someone who owns a business, and let's face it, their website either sucks or they don't have a website. That's the easiest way to put it. And you want to nominate yourself, or you want to nominate another business, just go to our website, askvalormasterminds.com, click on the Valor Cares. There's a page that explains a little bit more in depth about what's included, and then submit the information, and we'd love to help you out.
Since this is our last episode of the year and we're in the time of the holidays, we'd like to share our holiday greeting with everyone. But the end of the year brings no greater joy than the opportunity to express to you the season's greetings and good wishes. May your holidays be filled with joy and your new year filled with prosperity. Happy holidays from the Valor marketing team, and happy New Year to everyone. And Martijn, thank you so much for joining us internationally on our podcast. This is a great topic to close the year, and it's good time for during this time of year, kind of for self-reflection before you do set goals for the upcoming year. So thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, you're welcome. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Awesome. So on behalf of our sponsor, Advanced Septic Service, my name's Galen.
I'm Joe.
Coming at you from the BD Loco Studios in Tacoma, Washington. Thanks for watching or listening to this episode of the Ask Valor Masterminds podcast. Happy holidays and Happy New Year. Thanks, everyone.